go to one now from Bobby Jones. And I find this interesting because so many of the proposals that we got focused on players on expiring contracts. But he has the Orioles giving up two players that have a few seasons of team control left, Keegan Akin and Ramon Urias to the Cubs for right-hander Brandon Birdsell. Birdsell began this year on the IL, but is currently pitching at AAA Iowa. He won minor league pitcher of the year in the Cubs organization last year. So the Orioles get a close to major league ready arm in a 25-year-old Birdsell, and they'll give up Keegan Akin, Ramon Urias to do so. Nick, what are your thoughts on this proposal?
I don't hate it. If it was Charlie Morton and Ramon Urias, if that could get it done, absolutely. We don't know if Jeremiah Jackson can replace Ramon Urias on the roster, but he's certainly showing everything he can in AAA right now. So I have no idea what clicked. I don't know if anyone does, but a minor league cast off from the Angels, league average bat in AA when he signed with the Orioles. And now he's got 30-something games in AAA and 14 doubles and 10 home runs. I don't even know what the WRC plus is right now, like 150, 160 something. He's having an insane run in AAA. So if you move Ramon Urias to a team like Chicago who could use him, you could potentially have his replacement here in Jeremiah Jackson. And Jackson could even be that utility guy next year at the major league level and be successful. Of course, we don't know if what he's doing right now is going to translate to the big leagues, though. Birdsell could also fill the Akin role. Like Birdsell's 5 years younger. You're going to have him. He's going to be more controlled for a couple more years. He could end up being your long reliever as well. Younger, more upside, filling that same role, maybe even be a back end of the rotation guy. Fangraphs gives him a 70 future value command, an overall 45 grade prospect with back end rotation potential. I like it, but he also missed most of this year. I think he just returned. He had some oblique issues. He's had shoulder issues in the past. I'm intrigued by Birdsell, and he's definitely the type of prospect that I want to see the Orioles add, ideally multiple of at the deadline. Near MLB ready pitching guys with real upside. But I think they can get plenty of that with guys on expiring contracts, hopefully. So for what it's worth, Baseball Trade Values does have this as an overpay by the Orioles. And like you mentioned, Akin has the extra years of control. That's what scares me off of this just a little bit. So I'm at a 45 on this deal. I see the upside. And again, if it's Morton and Ramon Urias, absolutely. Forced trade. Welcome to Birdland, Birdsell. But I'm honestly a little bit more hesitant on Keegan Akin. But I don't know how other people feel about keeping Akin around for another year or so.
I'm a little bit higher on this one. I'm going to give it a 50 because I do think that using this approach of two guys who have years of team control left but aren't exactly irreplaceable to get something in return in Birdsell is something that's worth considering. I do have some concerns, though, about Birdsell. The ceiling, as you just touched on, is kind of limited. The injury history leaves me with some question marks, but what would be the bar, I guess, for success? And this is a good question. Okay, so you trade Keegan Akin in this deal. You're giving up a reliever who's not going to cost you a whole lot, that in a good year can give you 70-plus innings out of the bullpen. Could you get that from Birdsell if he's healthy? Could he be the guy that steps in and, you know what, maybe he rarely ever starts. Maybe he only starts the second game of a doubleheader, or he's a, break glass in case of emergency starter. But he's there in the bullpen, and he gives you 70, 75 innings a year for the next 3 or 4 years with a mid-threes ERA. Would that be a reasonable standard for success?
Yeah, and he very well could. I guess I do see the upside here with this deal because even if he fills the Akin role as the long relief guy, he's 5 years younger, and you've got him for many more years than you're going to have control over Keegan Akin. So if he does reach that potential, fantastic. But yeah, and you potentially have Ramon Urias' replacement there with Jeremiah Jackson right there waiting in the wings. The injury stuff just kind of scares me. I feel like I want many Birdsells in the system at the deadline because this team needs that depth. Yes, they need a whole lot more. We get that. They need more impact starters. But when you're talking about being able to sell off some guys on expiring contracts and potentially load up at least and address one major weakness of the organization, I feel like they could do that with the expiring contract guys. And I feel if it's going to take Keegan Akin and the organization is super high on a Birdsell or a similar type prospect from another organization who comes calling about a similar deal to this, then yeah, I go for it. Move Keegan Akin. But yeah, it's just the injury, specifically with this deal, the injury history, it scares me off just a little bit. But, yeah.